against Eugene Pasquale is ludicrous. By one person. By one person. I say this all the time though, voting is the greatest equalizer because we all have one vote. Doesn't matter how much money he spends, we all have one vote. So you gotta talk to your neighbors, you gotta talk to your family members, and trust me, I'm not talking to some of mine because of politics. And a large giant family, it always happens. But talk to them, and please go out there, donate a little bit, okay? Every bit helps in these kind of races. So, I gotta wait for pictures to be done over here. But I am gonna give a shout out to somebody else right now. Rose Lamb, would you please stand up? Rose is our organizer here, and she is amazing. And so, when I tell you that I fought, and I fought, and I fought to get an office here and to get an organizer hired on the ground, that is an understatement. We end up crowdfunding an office, but Rose has been a godsend. Please sign up for at least 2 shifts with her, okay? You can go down and make 20 calls, you can go down and make 20, go out and knock 20 doors, okay? It's not that hard. We need all the help we can get to get those 2 more votes per precinct.
Tomorrow is the Vice President's 60th birthday. What a better birthday present than some volunteering and donating.
Yeah, and it's gonna be beautiful, and Steelers night game. So there's no excuse to sit at home, except for me because I have to get the grant tomorrow for the county party. So I'm waiting to see if Malcolm's still taking pictures over there before I introduce him.
Tell Nancy, shut up.
Nancy, shut up. Hey, I was told by people at your table to do this, okay? So, Malcolm's taking a picture of us now, but I am going to try to get him to come up here on stage. Come on up, Representative Kenyatta is running for Auditor General, and we are so happy that this is the first time we've actually got to have him at one of our events because we keep missing one another on different things here. But thank you so much for coming.
Good evening. Good evening. Okay, I grew up in a black church. I gotta hear somebody say something. I gotta know I'm in the right place. So, first of all, I just want to start with the most important phrase in any language. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for understanding your power, but also understanding the significance of this moment. The one thing I don't think I need to convince you of tonight at all is that this is a serious inflection point for the future of our nation. I think you know it. I think you feel it. You feel it. But we should be very clear that yes, there are policy differences in this race. There are many. Up and down the ballot, many. But I will tell you, the main difference that we are up against is this basic idea of community. This basic idea that we should give a damn about each other. You think about what is at the core of what the other guy and all of the folks who just march in line like little ducklings behind him. You think about what's at the core of what he is saying and what he has been saying since he came down that escalator. He has communicated with one of the biggest microphones in the world a radical lie. A lie that our neighbors, that they are the cause of all of our problems. And if we just hate each other enough, somehow that will lead to making life better for you and the people that you love best in the world. We should be honest. There are folks who run entire campaigns, sometimes successfully, on a lie that in Pennsylvania, if we just divide each other up by regions, there are folks who want to tell you that if certain regions in the state got less, you would have everything you need. You've heard it before.
Yes. Yes.
You've had folks who have told you, well, that person doesn't look like you. Their family is a little different than yours. They're the cause. They're the blame. You've had folks who've tried to convince you, well, they weren't at service with you on Sunday, so they're probably the problem. Now that has, as I've said, that has helped some people win elected office and gain power for themselves. has not solved our problems.
Yes.
It hasn't solved our problems. Here's what I know, and what I think you know. That when we think about the threats to this great, grand experiment in self-governance and democracy, certainly, we should not undermine or understate the threat of folks who showed up to our nation's capital on January 6th, armed not just with weapons, but armed with lives. We should not understate the fact that there are folks who are working right now to try to repeat that day of violence.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we have a guy running to be president of the United States who said that members of law enforcement being beat with the American flag was a day of love. Said it was a day of love.
That's not my kind of love.
Now that is a threat. But we should also be clear about something else, my friends. There are a lot of people who didn't show up to the Capitol that day. And they may not show up to the local firehouse or the local school to vote if you don't get to them. Because they don't believe that there's anybody in it for them.
That's it.
If you go back to the 2020 election, we know that Joe Biden won,
Yes. Yep.
but if didn't vote was on the ballot, didn't vote would have been president of the United States. And I'll tell you, didn't vote would still be better than Donald Trump. But here's what we know. We know there are a lot of people who are drinking from that toxic cocktail. We've all taken a sip of it. Of anger, frustration, fear, hopelessness for what the future holds. We've all felt it. And for me, I was reminded of that in a pretty unexpected way. I went to a high school in Philadelphia called Roxborough High School. And you hate to think that it is possible, that it is humanly possible for kids playing a pickup football game to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. How is that even possible? It's exactly where they should be. But in this instance, little Nicholas, who would have turned 16 2 weeks ago, was in the quote-unquote wrong place at the wrong time. Shots rang out, little Nicholas dead on the steps of my high school. Changing everything for his incredible family.